Welcome to E360 TV, the live streaming and on-demand destination for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences. Raw conversation. One destination for it all. E360 TV.
My name is Dr. Kent Mercado, and I'm running for Congress. For the past 25 years, I've served the 11th District as a physician, an attorney, and a humanitarian. I'm running for Congress to have a larger impact and to bring your voice to Washington. I've visited every county in the district, and I've met with thousands of people, listening and learning from them about their concerns. I found that family values and kitchen table issues are what's most important. So we need to reignite the economy, improve our educational system, ensure the safety of our communities, provide access to affordable physical and mental health care, and of course support our farmers. I'm Dr. Kent Mercado, and I'm running for Congress to be your voice. Together we can make sustainable solutions for our nation.
You can navigate the legal and emotional journey of divorce and exit a marriage the way you entered it, with mindfulness, love, and respect. Solace Divorce Mediation is a full-service law practice helping couples focus on the health and well-being of children and their forever co-parenting family. Our streamlined divorce journey offers flat fees with an estimated completion time frame of 2 to 4 months. If you or a friend need us, visit solacedivorce.com.
Good morning to you. Strangest thing, I was just as sleepy as I wanted to be until it was, oh, I thought that was something on my face. Is something stuck on the screen? Hold on. Okay, all better. I was sleepy until you guys got here, and now I'm wide awake. Thank you so much. I am so excited to be here. Welcome to today's installment of Bathrobe Moments. I'm your host, Dr. Loren, and today we got D. Grant Smith in the house. D. Grant Smith's in the house. Do I have any announcements before I get him in here? Oh, tomorrow, because here's what happened. I had all these people. I am booked all the way, I think, until the end of somewhere around Thanksgiving, right? And I left my appointment book in San Diego, so they had to mail it to me. They took screenshots first. Anyway, the two people, if anyone knows someone named Margaret Conover or Charles Poute with the thing over the E, they're supposed to be on the show today and tomorrow. I don't know how to reach them. I don't know where they came from. I looked everywhere. LinkedIn, Need a Guest, StreamYard, my emails. So anyway, today, so you pivot, right? I hope they come back and go, wasn't that supposed to be on your show? So anyway, I got to do better. So D. Grant Smith is here, and I think I'm going to have D. Grant Smith be my co-host when this sort of thing happens, or when I'm on the road or otherwise unavailable. Instead of a rerun, which I hate playing reruns, I'll let D. Grant Smith be the host. How's that sound, D. Grant Smith?
I'm a fan. I like it.
And then, but then there comes my insecurities. I was like, wait a minute. What if I do that and I come up there like, back so soon, Loren? What are you leaving? We want D. Grant Smith back, huh?
No one can ever replace you, Loren. Don't even go there.
Oh, wait. baby ring. How you doing? How you been? What's going on in your world?
I'm doing better than ever, man. Rocking in a whole new vibe and just feeling really good and really solid. And yeah, the conversations you and I've had over the past couple, I guess, 3 or 4 weeks at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, life-changing. So I'm operating in a whole new vein than I've been in a long time.
Perfect. Say hello to Lucy McGillicuddy, Ricardo's stunt double. The other one, she's getting her roots done, otherwise known as in the dishwasher. So she's here. There's the bell of purpose in full effect as always. Going to ring it when some truth is on the table. So listen, I'm really excited. I want to get going because I went to this event last week. This time I was there Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Came back on the red eye Thursday night. Got home around 5 a.m. on Friday, and life changing. Absolutely life changing. I missed they had these wonderful things at nighttime, like they had cacao ceremony with the drink and the bowls and all that, and candlelight thing. And I was supposed to be doing something else, so Source had me do something else. The next night was
bum. Let's see how long it will be paused. All right, so I'm going to tell a joke while we wait for Loren to come back. What do you call a factory that makes only okay products? Got an answer yet?
I'm back now.
Oh, hold on. I've got to finish telling my joke.
Tell it.
So here's the beginning of it. What is a factory that makes only okay products? So here's the beginning of it. A satisfactory.
I was kind of listening on here. Oh, you have tea?
I do, yes.
I started drinking tea. I have it upstairs. I drink it at night. It's supposed to heal my lungs. My dirty little secret is out because it has been a month and 2 days since I quit smoking.
You were smoking?
Yes, it was my closet dirty secret.
You gave me such crap for vaping about 3 weeks ago, and I felt such shame about it. Actually, you know what? It's awesome that you say that, Loren, because I quit vaping 2 weeks ago, and I have been off of all of that stuff for almost 14 days now, and it has been really hard, but staying the course has been really important.
Right. See, even a hypocrite can help. It was my dirty secret. And I was at the Accelerator Business Summit about a month ago. Well, clearly a month ago, a month and two. And I was hanging out in the secret leper colony with Sanjeev Chopra, Deepak's brother, who smokes these big old cigars. They look like big pieces of sausage. They're so big, right? Great big old cigars. So he even goes to cigar bars. So anyway, we're out in the leper colony, and I opened the cigarette pack, and there was one in there. I go, oh, this is my last cigarette. I was gonna say in this pack, and then it wouldn't come out. So I just left it at, this is my last cigarette. Finished it, ground it to oblivion, threw everything, lighter, everything in the trash, and that was it. Got home, threw everything away, and nothing. I mean, it could have something to do with this maternity top that I'm wearing today, because I feel like I'm 4 months pregnant. But they say that's in your head too. I don't care. I'm up in my game. I'm going to go back to listings, having like a journal with everything. I'm going to the gym. I'm going to this machine. I use this much weight and I did this long. When I do that kind of stuff, I'm going to get up and do my reels from this time to this time. I have to do that regimented thing, or I just it's like this. If they told me, if I don't do it, my version of standing at attention looks like this. So I have to, but see, that's the thing. And this ties into what we're talking about today. Knowing yourself so well and being so honest with yourself that you do things, this is in my masterclass, put things within reach, that when you don't wake up the best version of yourself, they're there to go, psst, over here. Remember our covenant with each other. And so, because I believe when we break our own covenants with ourselves is when things really start going left. They go south. So, how do you feel about that?
No, you're absolutely right. And we betray ourselves more than anybody else will ever betray us.
Amen.
And we do this because I'll just speak from my own personal experience. I will say that, I want to be held accountable by somebody else because I'll feel this obligation to not let them down.
Yeah.
But not have that same sort of love and appreciation and respect for myself that I'm not willing to let myself down. And so what I've experienced in my own life is when other people have betrayed me or abandoned or, let me down in some way, especially some way that feels very significant. Yeah. They're reflecting something back to me that I've actually done to myself numerous times, but wasn't aware of it. And so, what you just described about, remember the covenant that we made. I'll tell a very personal story right now. It was right around New Year's Day this year, maybe the day or two before New Year's. I was with somebody I'm very close with, but I heard my heart tell me, hey, remember, you loved me first. You committed to me first. Ooh. You married me first. Because I married myself in 2018. After going through divorce and everything, I was like, you know what? I'm never going to commit to another person the way I commit to myself. But my heart brought me back to that moment and reminded me, hey, remember who your first allegiance is to.
That's right. Got that right. Ring the bell. And yeah. So listen, one of the things that happened, thank you for sharing that. That was pretty vulnerable. And I love that. Marry yourself. Self-vows. Dr. Michelle Arhana, she does a thing. She's one of your coaching sisters. She has a thing about self-vows where she takes these women on these retreats and they literally marry themselves, just like you said. So you're onto something there. Absolutely true. When I was at the event, RPXP, Red Pill Experience out in San Diego last week, I had a not life-changing, a journeys changing experience. I already know what my next book is going to be called. The Great Transition. It came out yesterday. The Great Transition. Because that's what I've just experienced, the Great Transition. And it was while we were doing this ceremony, the one that I did make it to, where we cradled this woman, literally lifted her up. And what happened while we were all connected, what happened to me, I can't speak for him. I don't know what happened to everybody else, but I know what happened to me. Happened with me and for me and through me and to me, every direction. It was just, I am so glad I did not leave this journey, this world, without having experienced what I experienced. I did not even know it was a thing. So today, and then on the way to the airport, thank you, Rebecca. Rebecca was talking about Abraham Hicks. And I was like, ain't that guy who used to tap dance and died was in that movie? And that was Gregory Hines. Right? She was like, Abraham Hicks, Gregory Hines, same amount of syllables, easy to confuse. So anyway, she started telling me about him, and something prompted me, speak it into your phone so you don't forget. Speak it into your phone. So I spoke it into my phone, and then sitting on the plane waiting to leave, I went ahead and pulled it up and everything. And so today we're going to you wanted to talk about story, because we both work with story extensively in our journeys, and we all do. And it's going to tie in with what we're going to listen to a little bit of something called the path of least resistance. What's that mean to you? And you guys put in the comments, what is your version? What do you think the path of least resistance means? D?
Well, as a fan and student of Jerry and Esther Hicks, aka Abraham Hicks, for the past 7 years or so,
Jerry and Abraham are the same person?
No.
Oh.
Esther Hicks is the lady who channels the spirit of Abraham.
Is she married? Was she married to him or something?
She was married to Jerry Hendricks.
Okay.
And Jerry died about 2 or 3 years ago.
Okay. Hi, Victoria Love. Where you been, girl? Victoria Love. She's an art therapist. Nice to see you here in Chicago. Yes. Hello to you too, darling. Robert Brooker used to smoke like a chimney. Ooh. Okay. I'll get to everybody. Let's keep going. So what is your experience with swimming inside the Abraham Hicks pool?
Well, Abraham / Esther speaks in a very interesting way. She talks about things, or he talks about things, they talk about things. Very, very much about she talks about getting into the vortex to manifest your desires. And there's a lot of talk about, being in the right vibration and all that kind of stuff, which can get kind of confusing, to be honest with you. But at the same time, I appreciate the way that she talks about having a centralized focus, and the path of least resistance is getting into the place where energetically, emotionally, from the place of your vibration, your heart space, you are in a place of ease and a place of naturalness, instead of trying to force something into being. When we come into resistance, there's a part of us that is either operating out of doubt or disbelief, or there's some sort of something in our mindset and in our energy field that's telling us, no, we can't do this. We've never done this before. This can't happen. All these negative beliefs and all that stuff. The path of least resistance is stepping out of that and allowing God, spirit, source,
to take you somewhere,
for us to get into the flow of what that is, and to let go, so we're not actually trying to make anything happen.
Okay. That's what happened. First time I'm telling it, because now I know the door is open. You just described it. When we were cradling, I thought, okay, we're going to hold this woman up in the air, right? And I'm telling you, I thought, because I've been dealing with my angels and stuff, literally seeing them since I was a kid, and all that trauma happened. They were right there. They used to tell me, quit laughing when you hear people saying he has a lot of imaginary friends. I'd be looking over at them like this, and they'd be going, shh. Right. I know, but I didn't know what I know now. Let me tell you, when we lifted her up, she's up there, and I'm right by her shoulders, right? We're holding her up, and I'm looking, la, 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 la. Okay, this is nice. I wonder if my arms are going to get tired. All these things are going through my head. Then all of a sudden, shoo, I was like, in this place, the music was going. John Block was saying something about why she was up there. And I was in this place where I can't, they're not even words. That's why I've been hesitant to try to explain this, because there aren't any words. But I will say this. The girl next to me, I looked over at her and she drew this gaspy kind of breath. And when she drew that breath, I promise you, it was like a deck of cards. It spread out, her face spread out, and I saw her in different, I know it sounds cray-cray, different times throughout history. Same girl in different clothes. And every time she was looking up, and I heard Spirit say, she is witnessing, literally witnessing people being persecuted, mainly women, for what we are doing. For that, because they knew what I'm experiencing. They knew the power of what I was experiencing, and they were persecuted. Hangings, decapitations, burnings, all kinds of horrible atrocities. I saw them all at once. And in that, oh my goodness. And that was beginning. And then they snapped my head back up to where the girl was, and her hands were down. And then she moved her hand over her face. And that's when that soul grieving, like as if someone called you and said, everybody in your whole family is dead. And as she did that, something happened where whatever was cocooning her exploded like shards of glass, spiritual glass. And they moved like the Matrix, like when they went backwards, all slow, those pieces moved. So it was my left arm that I was focused on. And I saw one go, and I saw my flesh bend, and then it went in and poked out the other side. And I was going to look to see where it was going to go next. And they said, that is not for you to see. Stay within your own journey. Do not look. I felt like what they told Lot's wife, don't turn back and look at the city. You're going to turn into salt, metaphorically, of course, but it was not for me to see. So I looked. Now I come back and I can feel, like, you know how I saw the girl with all the faces through time? I could feel different things about different people. I didn't know who the arm or hand was attached to. It was like, I didn't see, it was cut off. I only saw the middle parts. I didn't see who it was from here back, and I didn't see where they were touching her. I just saw the middle. And through that bow, if you will, I was getting downloads about everybody that it was just. So when it was finished and they lowered her back down, we scooted back out to where we originated in the circle. All I could say for like, probably it felt like an hour. And I'm still saying it. How did I not know this place existed? It wasn't a thing. It was a place. And so they did an exit video with me at the end. And they kept saying, so Loren, if you were to name what you've just experienced for others, what would you call it? They haven't come up with words. I after 10 minutes of searching, I said, finally, you know what? Here it is. I'm calling it Everybody Ought to Get One. It was an everybody ought to get one experience. Just one. And so anyway, I say all that. Let's take a look. And because what you just described was the path of least resistance. I went in not knowing, but okay with being of service, lifting her up. I really was present for that objective. I was a part of the overall collective. Every single person must have been in agreement because something happened that has never happened in my life. You know what I'm saying? I believe I've done things where supposedly we were all in agreement, but one must have been off because it wasn't this. This was. And then I heard a term that I had never heard before. But the moment I heard it, I was like, well, that sounds and feels so familiar. When they were saying, once I was placed in this container, meaning where we were, this place, which I say all the time, faith is not a thing, it is a place. Joy is not a thing, it is a place. It is wherever you find yourself when you choose it. It's just amazing. So let's head over. Do you got anything to say before I start the video?
Well, when you said that everyone needs to have this, that it wasn't a experience, it was a place, I immediately thought of what you said a second ago. I was like, well, yeah, of course, because you are the first person that I heard say faith is not a thing, faith is a place. And so that makes perfect sense. But what you were describing about how you've had experiences before where there was a lot of synchronization, but one person must have been off because it wasn't as fluid and as perfect as what you experienced in that moment.
Yeah.
The words that came to my mind was absolute perfect harmony. Because when you go to a concert, especially a concert of like, vocal performers, and each one of those incredibly talented musicians are singing in perfect harmony, it sounds like one voice. There might be 500 people on stage, but it sounds like one voice. And that's a picture of what I imagine what you experienced in that moment.
It truly was. It truly was. This is the first time reliving that experience with people that I didn't start just sobbing, snotting. I am not kidding. When I went back to the outside of the circle, I kept my head down because I was crying so heavily, but not sad, just some type of like a form of relief from that moment all the way back to my origin. Like when you want to sneeze and you can't, but you try to make yourself sneeze, or you need to yawn and you can't. Finally, I could yawn. Finally, I snooze. That's my version of the plural of sneeze. And it just was incredible. So much. I'm not kidding you. Stuff was running out of it was just, and I didn't care who saw it. And we were holding hands, and I was like trying to use my, the two next to me got it and let go of my hands for a second. And then they both grabbed my hands up here because they were like, I ain't touching those hands after all that excrement. So anyway, that's what happened. So let's take a listen. And this is interesting because have you seen their videos on YouTube? The Hicks? They use
they use cartoons.
Cartoons. I love that because it takes it away. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
And this is an audience member asking a question or something, and then she channels. So let's take a listen. If you guys aren't up on, you probably are. I'm always the last one to the party, or so it seems. Here it is. This is Abraham Hicks, 2023. This is new. A big message on how the path of least resistance is the secret to creating. Let's listen.
So the question that I have is, I have a long-term vision of what I am creating, but I get sidestepped on a daily basis with the short-term. I don't really feel like doing this particular step right now. I don't really feel like doing this particular thing today. On multiple subjects.
Is that a bad thing or a good thing?
Well, I want to be really sleek and toned and in shape, but I just seem to never feel like working out today, and it's always today. Or I want this for one particular company to build it to $100 million company, but I don't ever feel like doing the email marketing campaign today, and it's always today. So I just have been a little bit stuck in
But
that.
the question that we have is, what do you feel like doing? Are you feeling like doing something?
So it varies. So some days, yes, and I'm living a really good life, but some days, no, I don't feel like doing anything.
We've been saying a lot recently.
Mm-hmm.
The last several gatherings, we've been really emphasizing that we would encourage that everyone do 30% less, 40% less. We've been encouraging that people do 50% less, 60%. We've been encouraging that people do about 70% less, 75% less of what they have been doing. And more contemplating, more visualizing, more taking pleasure from life, more vibrational work, less action work. And so that's part of what's happening to you, is that you're beginning to understand where your true leverage is. And it's a hard adjustment because you know from past experience, from watching yourself and watching others, that when you really apply yourself, that you can make some things happen. But when you're talking about things of this magnitude, when you're talking about that sort of leverage, now you've got to tap into a vibrational leverage. Some years ago, Jerry read a book many, many, many years ago. Alan Laken had written it, and it was a self-help book, and it was called How to Get Control of Your Time in Life. And the only thing that Jerry recalled from the book that he then talked to Esther about was a process called the Swiss cheese process. And what the basis of it was that there are some things that you can accomplish very quickly. It only takes a minute or 10 minutes or maybe even an hour. So if it's on your list today, you can get it done if you apply yourself. You can use things like willpower and diligence and determination to make yourself do those things. And you can get a reasonable number of those done. But there are those larger things like writing a book or getting yourself in shape or creating a financial empire or even doing your income taxes or cleaning out your garage. In other words, those things that you're not going to do in an hour, that would take maybe more than a day or maybe more than a week. And so those are the things that you tend to not apply yourself at. You procrastinate. You don't make any effort. And so he suggested that you take those big things and you break them down into smaller things. So Esther takes a big piece of paper and she puts holes all over it, making it look like Swiss cheese, and then writes all of the different aspects of everything about this project. What's it going to take to do all of this? And then when she looks at it, she just picks one of those and asks herself if she feels like doing it. And something that she has discovered is that she often does feel like doing it. She often feels like doing it because the overwhelmment factor isn't there, and the rational factor that says, I'm not going to be able to begin to accomplish this all right now. You kept saying right now, right here, right now, right here, right now. But a piece of it may be. But here's the thing. This is the piece that we want to put into this. Is there anything on this Swiss cheese list that I want to do right now? Not that I need to do right now. Is there any piece of this that I'm called to? And what Esther's discovered is, yeah, she keeps feeling called to that and called to that. And sometimes she'll sit and she'll complete 3 or 4 things in one day as she's moving about because she wants to do it, not because she needs to do it. And that really is the key. It's another way to overcome resistance.
Okay. Let's talk about what we've heard of. I love it. So first of all, let's start with more vibrational work. Do you feel, the minute she said that, I felt instinct. Because I believe instinct is attached to our vibration, to our energy, to frequency, to anything that is calling. Like if you walk in a room and you go, something doesn't feel right. Instantly, it's because something is calling. Hey, something's off in here. Because I didn't have to look for it. But it is possible to look for something wrong. That's not instinct. That's suspicion, which doesn't serve me. See, because I remember when Source told me the difference between being suspicious and being what is the word? Shoot. When you're supposed,
Intuitive.
What you?
Intuitive.
There's another word. Yeah, that thing. You know, when you're like, like critical thinking. You know what I mean? Which is smart. Skeptical. They said, Loren, there's a difference between being skeptical and being suspicious. Skeptical is attached to critical thinking, informed thinking, checking everything out, considering it from top to bottom, bottom to top, side to side, side to side, corner to corner, and corner to corner. Suspicious is just for no apparent reason. Fear. And all the other things that don't serve us. So anyway, more vibrational work. What did you feel, or what do you see? Put it in the comments, you guys. When you hear that term, more vibrational work, what does that look like for you, D?
Well, this has been something that it's taken me a while to understand. I was going to say figure out, but I'm really getting out of using that terminology.
Yeah.
But The vibrational work for me is about it's about what we were talking about a minute ago. It's about harmony, because it's easy for us to get out of a harmonization with the divine essence that we are, to get out of harmony with our divine peace that is natural and a part of who we are.
Is that
Also,
alignment?
yeah,
Okay.
because then there's all kinds of things that will do this. It's fear, self-doubt, worry, anxiety, stress, opinions of other people, suggestions and ideas of other people. Yeah, what Lori just said, the unknown.
Yep.
All of these things can cause us to take our mental, emotional, and spiritual energy and start wavering and going all over the place. And when we're doing that, we're out of alignment. And ultimately, the vibrational stuff is about being in alignment with our divine selves.
Yeah. Think about in your car. Have you ever been remember back in the day when a car would be out of alignment and you take your hands off the wheel and it start pulling, or it'd be like vibration
Exactly.
out of alignment.
Exactly that.
I'm telling you, there's always an outside version of what they're trying to show us inside. There's always a physical so that you can see it and then tie it into what you're feeling.
It's a story.
It's a story. It's exactly is clues. Catch them, people. Catch them. Lori says also, true enough, makes the mind wonder. Unbalanced. Absolutely. Okay. So that's that. Now, what about this next? I love this. I'm going to try it. I think we should all try it for a week and just come back and talk about it. The Swiss cheese list or method. And how she says that when you put those things there, look for the ones that I'm called to.
Yeah. So one of the things that's been a big, it's been a big transformational point for my entire year. And this year has been incredibly challenging in ways that this has been the most challenging year that I've ever experienced.
Ever?
This makes what I went through in 2017 seem like a walk in the park. What I went through in 2017 was my 12-year marriage ended suddenly, and I had zero say in it. And my business shut down. I took a sales job doing something I had zero experience in and totally sucked at. My relationships improved and got better in certain friendships, but like I felt like I was utterly worthless for a good portion of that year. But there were things that were staggered throughout the course of the year and didn't happen all at once. 2023 took some of the hardest challenging things I went through in 2017 and 2018, combined it all into one thing, and then like really dropped it on my lap all at the same time. So, but one of the things that has come out of this whole experience is it's brought me back to myself.
Remembered you.
Your
original. Yes.
And I recognized that even while I had been doing a lot of really good work for myself and teaching other people how to do this stuff too, there was still parts of me that were, just like we were talking about, out of alignment. And I had forgotten and not been as practiced in some of these very elemental and very essential aspects of what it means to be 100% me and choose myself 100% of the time. And so one of the big things that I've been moving into is what Abraham Esther was talking about at the very, very beginning of that video about choosing, or she said, we've been encouraging you guys to do 45% more or 45% less, 50% less, 65% less, 75% less. But getting into this place where, for me, I am not going to decide. I'm deciding not to do something unless it's a hell yes decision. And that has become that's the litmus test for me. So I've had people message me and say, hey, I would really like to work with you in like coaching in this capacity. But I think about it and I pray about it, and they're not the right fit for me.
Right.
And I'm not the right fit for them. So even though it might be a financial opportunity or whatever, if it's not a hell yes for me and a hell yes for them, I can't allow myself to do it, because that's only going to lead to stress and frustration in some other form or fashion. And so like the hell yes is following my bliss. And that's something else that Esther talks about a lot.
There you go. That's huge. And even in things that we think have nothing to do with anything, for instance, yesterday I was sitting here, and I subscribe to a thing called the Bash for speaking engagements, something new in the last 3 months, and it's working. And I had the basic thing, right? I paid $40 because I'm cheap, right? I paid $40. And then yesterday, just out of nowhere, I'm sitting here minding my own business. And they source university, they said, go in and upgrade. Well, they'd been telling me, I even wrote little notes, but I saw one of them and I was like, ooh. And I was like, but that's $499. I looked back to where it was written, which remembered me to when it came in hot, and just did it. Okay. What I found out was it's safer, it's better. If I'm going to question it after I do it, because that's the human part that I'm working through and I'm healing through and I'm learning from and all the rest. But at least it is in the hopper. It is now within the manifestation wheelhouse. When I doubt and question prior, I never can find out. Now I'm going to find out, what was that all about? And what I love about this, D, is the old me just 2 weeks ago, or before I went to this event, would have looked at this situation I just described, and I would have said, well, I wonder if that's going to bring me any more money. Well, I wonder if that's going to get me any more gigs. I put it on one outcome. I focus on one outcome. This time, it just, I can't wait to see what this was all about. No matter what. So again, the path of least resistance is what got me there.
So Abraham Hicks, I learned this the other day, and I've been practicing this. She has a suggestion. She says, start off the morning, first thing in the morning, telling/asking God, universe, source, I'm so excited about what you're going to bring me today. Show me how great life can be today.
I love it. I absolutely love it. See, real quick, Robert Brooker, see what I'm saying, y'all? Don't sleep on Robert Brooker. You know, Robert will throw some stuff when you're talking about the Swiss cheese method, and he'll talk about, I just love fresh cheesecakes. Truly, I do. Remember that cartoon? I just love cheese. Truly, I do. Remember her?
From the 80s? Yeah.
So he goes, Robert says, and I love this, there's no need to seek knowledge. You want to seek understanding. Is this where you're heading with this? And then he said, and once you have this understanding, you demonstrate it. Perfectly said. Thank you, Robert. And then Lori says, get more into your spiritual sense and self. Oh, they're feeling D Grant today. Sherry McQueen, 100% D Grant. And D, you were in there answering. Okay. All right. Yeah. I too, Lori, like to marinate on a thought before I make a decision. Absolutely. Absolutely. So let's hear how are we doing on time? Perfect. Let's go back in and hear a little bit more from Abraham.
It's sort of like the placemat process that we talked about before, where in a feeling of overwhelmment, delegating it to the universe, don't assign it to yourself. So did anything shift in that conversation?
It did. It did. Just the feeling of, because everything that I feel like I must do next for this one particular company, Lesson Stop, is I don't want to do. But I'm certain that if I lay it out in a map, the way that you suggested, there will be things.
So what's this conversation saying? Always follow your path of least resistance. Let's take this further. We've not had this conversation before with anyone. Let's take this further. Why take the path of least resistance? Because it's the only choice you have. And here's the big piece. Your inner being knows what is the path of least resistance. So you've got to give yourself permission to take that path of least resistance. And most of you don't want to do that because then you define yourself as lazy or inappropriate or unfocused or unwilling. And that's just not the case. Let's say it in this way. Path of least resistance is the way the entire universe operates. Path of least resistance is the only way that things operate in a natural way. Path of least resistance is the only way, the only sustainable way for energy to flow. Path of least resistance is a good thing because path of least resistance and path of most allowance are the same thing. Path of least resistance is a good thing. So am I inappropriate that I don't feel like doing all of those things? Certainly not. There's resistance that's keeping me from wanting to do them. And so it's releasing that resistance that is necessary right now. You're going to have fun with that. You think we got to the bottom of it?
Of that, yes.
What else?
Relationships. So I met a...
Okay. Love this. The path of least resistance, and then she had the juxtaposition piece. And what it reminded me of was I've just recently, in the last 6 months, understood this and really committed it to my journey and to myself all the way to a cellular level. And what I'm getting at is this. I always knew that once upon a time, I did not know how to say no to people. I didn't know how to say no. And then I learned to simply say, well, so-and-so, what do you feel is the best way for you to deal with this? And that got me out of that. But then once I mastered or was on the way of mastering that realization, it dawned on me that another piece of that was, because it's never about just one thing, was that I also did not know when to say yes to myself. I didn't know how to say no to others, and simultaneously, I didn't know how to say yes to myself. So when you put those two together, look how much journey, success, bliss, as you put it, which I love, it stole, or that I forfeited, because it didn't steal. It can't take anything from me, but I can freely give it away. Hence, no weapon formed against you, but it says nothing about weapons that we form and use against ourselves. And there that is. Seriously, I did not know how to say yes to myself because I didn't feel, like you said, that dark time, all that shadow work. That's another thing I picked up out there. I don't know how I didn't know this. Shadow work. Because I'm gonna tell you know what what Source always told me shadows were? They told me this when I was a little boy. I remember sitting there. I was on a punishment. They said, sit there under that tree. Don't you move. Everybody else is playing. And I was crying stuff, but then I saw shadows, and I heard Source say, don't worry about it. See those shadows? Those are opinions of others. See, if you look away, just in the time you and I are going to spend here talking, Larry, because that was my name back then. And it said, I had a ball or something. It said, put it over there on top of that shadow. By the time our conversation finished, the ball was there, still there, but the shadow was way over here because the sun was moving. And Source told me, opinions are shadows. They're going to change minute and moment by moment. But at the end of the day, when the sun has gone, you, the tree, Larry, will still be right here. And all those opinions will have faded away until another day when a whole new set will show up. And so that is what it taught me. So tell me what you feel about that. Being able to say, do you see it as far as two separate entities, not being able to say no to others, but not giving myself permission to say yes to myself?
Yeah, absolutely.
Big piece.
Well, I think that, and maybe, Loren, what I know from your experience of what you shared about your childhood and all the different homes that you lived in and all the different households that you were a part of, I could imagine, if I were in your shoes, that the idea of asking for something or wanting something, that there would be a subconscious no that would come out just blaring, like, you're going to get rejected. This is not going to work. Nobody's going to say yes to you about that. So no becomes the only answer to everything. The idea of there being a yes that could come from anybody, whether it's the idea that yes could come from God, because sometimes we can do that to our relationship with God. We can project, God's not going to say yes to this because nobody else has. Well, imagine it coming from other people. So the idea of there being a yes that somebody could give back to us is it's like a foreign language. You wouldn't understand it if it was spoken. And then because of all that stuff, then yes, we have the hardest time giving ourselves that kind of yes. It's almost like that word doesn't exist. We imagine that there's got to be a possibility for it. And wouldn't it be wonderful if someday when we get to heaven, we can finally experience yes. And that's going to be, that'll be the crown glory. When we die,
it'll all be worth it then.
Yeah, when I die, I get to go to heaven and I finally get to experience what it means to experience, yes, you can. Yes, I will give to you. But like, because it seems so not even foreign, like in a different country, foreign like in a different universe, then yes, it's so far out of reach that we don't know how to give it to ourselves. We're not practiced at giving it to ourselves. And when people, when I used to hear people say, well, I just give myself what it is that I want other people to give because my answer to me is always yes. I'd be like, but how do you actually do that? Like how can you say yes to yourself? I don't understand. I didn't understand that.
That's right. That's so right. By the way, you guys, I've just taken that link from the video we were watching and I dropped it in the comment section in case anybody wants to go and watch the full thing. It's really great. I plan on doing it. And I want to say this too. Excuse me, at this point, because I got the download when you started talking about when I was in all those homes. Seriously, I heard God said, remind them that we don't always choose low self-esteem. We don't always choose no self-worth. We have been groomed from an early age within our innocence, which seems like an unfair, cowardly way, but things that do not serve us have no rules. They abide by no rules, right? So, and cowards, and they travel in packs. So it's not like stand up and fight me like a man. No, they're going to do whatever. They don't give a shit, right? And what I'm getting at is this. When I was in the system, say, for instance, I'll never forget when the regular family, the people who were of blood, that lived there, it was their house, including them and their kids, here's an analogy, and it happened a lot in different versions. They would all be eating steak. All of us foster kids would have a hot dog. They would have ice cream and cake for dessert. We'd have one of those freeze pops, where you get a whole bunch of them stuck together. It's like a penny for each one. Right. Their kids could be playing jarts or something all across. They had full access to the full property, running around, where the foster kids, they'd say, sit in this slab of sidewalk. If you even play with each other and cross over the line, say playing jacks or two square or something, you're going in and you're going to bed. I don't care if it's 9 o'clock in the morning, you're gone to bed till the next day. Let them catch you reaching over that line that separates you two. So those were subtle yet glaring ways. And it wasn't, and I know now it had nothing to do with them caring whether or not, I hope he grows up with no self-esteem. 1 billion quadrillion. No, they weren't Dr. Evil. It was about them doing anything to make themselves feel adequate for whatever that work they weren't doing, to brighten the shadows that were haunting them, that they're not choosing to banish. And so I'll say this, really take a look at those things for what they are, because remember, and this is in the masterclass, when you find yourselves in those situations, because I remember sitting there and inside I was bawling, but I didn't want to let them see me sweat. And I would say to God, why do I have to be in this horrible place with these horrible people? Am I that bad? And God said, doesn't mean either one of you is bad. Neither one of you is bad. You are my creation. I have you in this particular moment right now, Larry, because I need you to see an example of what I want you to never become. And there it is. So let's talk about some applications. And let's talk about, you guys included, drop it in the comments. What what are you willing to do differently between now and the next time we come together for one of these illuminated conversations, just the two of us and everybody here, to help do better with giving yourself permission, saying yes to yourself, choosing the things that you're called for. I'm doing the Swiss cheese thing. I'm going to get some paper and I'm going to do it. I am going to do it. What about you? What are you willing to commit to as we get out of here today?
Well, one of the things I've been committed to and been doing for the past couple of weeks is I'm in a practice of writing a new story for myself. And so one of the things that's come from going through this experience this year and all these different things that have been very difficult and very challenging to come face to face with, I recognize it's a reflection of something inside of myself that I wasn't willing to address before. And instead of running away from it or denying it or putting the blame on something outside of me, I recognize it's a part. It's like what Ho'oponopono is. And you and I have talked about that numerous times.
Yes.
So I recognize that this is a reflection of something inside of me that I can't see. And so the only person to change is myself. I can point my finger at the mirror and be mad at the mirror, but the mirror is only reflecting what is here.
Right.
And so what I have to recognize is there are things that I am experiencing and have experienced that are parts of my story that I don't like. But instead of me changing that story, I've continued to operate from that same line of thinking and that same line of consciousness. And for anything to change, my consciousness has to change, which means I don't just write down affirmations and think that the affirmations are going to make the change. No, I have to embody what those affirmations are. And
those affirmations are reminders to ourselves that we're in the process of changing.
The affirmations are reminders. That's all that they are. It's the affirmation is the sticky note that you put on your mirror to remember to go do whatever it is that you need to do.
There you go. It's a sticky note and not a magic wand.
Exactly. And so what I've been doing is I've been writing very short form versions of this is the story I am living now, regardless of what I'm seeing outside of me. My internal story is this, and I dwell in that and live in that all day, every day. So when I'm not creating a video or I'm not writing a new lesson or I'm not doing something that is putting content out into the world, I've got both ear pieces in, one side saying one thing, the other side saying something else, and then I've got it channeled out. But like I am indoctrinating myself in my new story.
There you
go. Because I
go.
recognize that I indoctrinated myself in the story that I hate and that I don't like, and that the manifestation of that has been awful. And so that here's what it is though. I appreciate getting to experience that contrast now. I'm thankful for it because it showed me the furthest extent of what I don't want. Okay, now I know exactly what that looks like and what that feels like, and I don't like it. So now that I've had that experience, I know what the opposite. If it sucks so bad over here, how can I reverse that? And as a writer, I know exactly how to do that. I tell a completely different story. And that's what I'm living out.
Because it is never about just one thing. Never. And that doesn't mean that the other shoe is going to drop when you're on top of a mountain celebrating a milestone moment. It means that you could have won a double showcase. You just didn't win one. You were within $100 and you won both showcases. Thank you, Bob Barker.
And you won all 3 showcases.
There you go. All of them. Listen, great show today. Great and illuminated conversation. I love it. I cannot wait until the next one. And what are you going to commit to? Just commit to being your best self. And we did a lot today. I'm so excited. Get inside that vibrational work. Do things that you are called to do and keep growing, keep showing, keep knowing, learning, and healing, all of it. Listen, get out of here, you guys. I'll see you tomorrow, God willing, over there on the front porch where we will come in together. John Block is here tomorrow. He's the co-founder of the RPXP experience, which I just went out there, and the path of least resistance. Indoctrinated, baptized me into what I will never not choose again. And that is abundant bliss. Abundant bliss. It means I can have what I felt in that moment, every moment. All I have to do is choose. So see you guys. Thank you, D Grant. Great job as always. And you guys, as we get out of here, You know I love you, and there ain't a damn thing you can do about it. I'll see you tomorrow. Have the best day ever. Find your highest self in this day. Bye-bye. Bye, D. See ya.
See ya.
Show me your soul. Baby, I'll show you mine. Show me your soul. Honey, it's way past time. How expensive do I have to be? Need I spell it out before you get it, baby? Show me your soul. And honey, I'll show you mine. I'll show you mine. Boy, I'm standing right here holding up a sign, shamelessly displaying my state of mind.